I don't know about you, but I hate the feeling of being uncomfortable. Which is why I'm really thankful for our sponsor today. MeUndies. MeUndies offers wonderful, comfortable, breathable materials that'll keep you supported all day and all night. They come in wonderful designs like these lovely little dinosaurs, as well as your traditional monochromatic colors, if that's more your flavor. MeUndies comes with a worry-free guarantee in case you're not a fan of their underpants. You know what? That first pair is gonna be on them. And if you go to MeUndies.com/4starbento and use the code 4starbento at checkout, you can get 20% off plus free shipping on any order of $75 or more. So thank you, MeUndies, for keeping me comfortable with your wonderful undergarments, your slate of lounge wear with responsibly sourced materials. Again, go to MeUndies.com/4starbento, use the code 4starbento to get 20% off an order of $75 or more and free shipping. And now, find a way to get these back on. How did I do that? Enjoy the video. Slide it down the leg, I guess? Shit! Welcome back, Kaiser, to the Talkcast Podshow, and of course, anybody who's listening out there. We're here, we're going to talk about Spiderman, the Spiderman, the friendly neighborhood variety. Super not woke Spider-Man.
Super, totally not woke. Nothing woke about this. Don't ask if it's woke.
That was one of the dumbest interviews I think I've read. I think people have just like misinterpreted what that word, like they only take the I guess the denigrated version of that word now. Like,
so
that's just what it is.
If anybody's wondering why we're talking about woke immediately, which I mean, I guess that tracks. There was an interview with the main actor for Spider-Man in this. I don't know.
Don't worry, it's not woke. It's like,
yeah, and it's really funny to me because like
we'll get into it, but the show actually like seems to have some fairly progressive values. So
yeah, Hudson Thames, I think his name is. Either that or it's Hudson Thames. I don't know. It's Thames.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
it's very funny quote. But before we get into the meat of this discussion, I want to break it down with a little bit of the rundown, talking about some stuff that unrelated that maybe you and I both don't really have a massive opinion on, but shit happens and sometimes you want to talk about it.
I saw Mickey 17.
Did you? I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
Oh, okay. So I'll say this: it's not my favorite Bong Joon-ho film.
What is?
Parasite. I know,
Fair.
Basic bitch answer, but it's really fucking good, and everyone knows it. It's uneven. I'll say that. It's uneven to me. I really liked it. I think Robert Pattinson is fucking amazing. Guy got done so dirty, but we are seeing like him in all this new stuff where he's so good. So I don't know. Like between Boy and the Heron, the Batman in this, he has redeemed himself greatly.
Look, he's been having a bit of a renaissance for himself. Like The Lighthouse is kind of what opened my eyes to him being like, okay, you know, I'll watch him in more things. He's a goofy little guy. I like watching him be a goofy little guy.
I need to watch that fucking movie.
You do need to watch it. By the way, for the record, Snowpiercer is Bong Joon-ho's. Look, Parasite is fantastic, but Snowpiercer, I can watch that again and again.
Yeah, I need to watch Snowpiercer.
You haven't watched Snowpiercer, motherfucker? You are a basic bitch.
I know.
I'll list something else you haven't watched. Have you seen like the new Witcher animated movie that Netflix dropped probably a few weeks back, maybe a month back? I don't even know at this point, but I just watched it.
The boyfriend and I are supposed to watch it together.
It's good. It's legitimately good.
Fascinating, because I heard it was bad.
Well, they're fucking wrong.
Well, here's the thing. Though I think you are easier on movies than I am, if you say it's like really good, then
I liked it, man.
Yeah, I expect it to actually be good. So,
like at the very least, it's above par. I don't know who's saying the shit's bad.
Well, I'll have to give it a try. I mean, I was gonna watch it regardless.
It's basically The Witcher doing like a Little Mermaid, like its take on The Little Mermaid, like taking it as a dark fantasy, where he has to negotiate between like the merfolk and the humans. It's an actual Witcher quest line. So if you like The Witcher, like as a series, I think you dig this. Plus, I'm pretty sure it has the game actors in it, so you get that bit of graveliness too.
To be fair, I've never actually I've never played The Witcher, and the little bit of Witcher that I have actually interacted with was the Netflix first season, and I quit halfway through because frankly I got bored.
Well, I mean the tub episode's like the second one, so you're good. I also liked the Witcher series, to be fair. I quit after the second season. I like it.
I heard it got bad.
It did. And the first animated Witcher movie that they dropped, the one with like the sacking of Kaer Morhen, that one I will say like it actually bores me. But this one I liked. Like, the one that dropped.
So I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, I think it's got like fun action, good animation, good acting, a decent twist on the Little Mermaid story. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
I also started the first episode of Pantheon, a little show that was apparently on. It was an AMC original.
I couldn't get into it. I just couldn't.
First episode got me. So yeah, no, that first episode was really intriguing, and I want to see where it goes. And also, a lot of people online kept saying that I needed to watch it. So, hey guys, I'm watching Pantheon.
I watched the first episode, and I'm like, it's just like there's some intrigue there, but like I feel like a movie or a show that's doing that sort of like psychological thriller maybe a bit better in my mind is a show called what's it called? Something Side Effects.
Oh, I need to. Okay, so I've watched. I watched the first episode of that, Common Side Effects.
Common Side Effects.
Yeah, so that's by the person, one of the creators of Scavenger's Reign, and I need to watch more of that because oh my god,
good.
Yo,
like it's got like a weird, surreal, dark comedy to it. It's very dry humor that I appreciate, and just like the paranoia and like the vibe that it gives off is great. And Mike Judge shows up playing this like CEO, and he's just great. It's just Hank Hill voice, but
I'm kind of curious because I swore that Worthy Kids was a part of this show because it reminds me so much of was it not Burger Town? Shoot, I forget what it's called, but you know Worthy Kids?
Unfamiliar.
Worthy Kids is one of the he's an online animator, and his big thing is Big Top Burger.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of stuff. He's really talented, really funny, and the moment I saw Common Side Effects, I was like, that's him, right? And finding out that he had nothing to do with the project, I'm like, does this motherfucker have to sue somebody? Because that's his style to a T. But I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm very curious to watch it because again, that first episode was pretty good. So
yeah, no, Common Side Effects. I've enjoyed it throughout so far. Harley Quinn to me continues to be on a bit of a downward spiral after season 3.
I wish, look, if it weren't for the fact that with like this and our next fucking episode, it's going to be nothing but fucking comic stuff. I would love to do an entire episode on Harley Quinn this current season. And frankly, I'm so frustrated because there are so many things I like and so many things I don't.
Yeah. I mean, it still's got like a spark here and there. Maybe it's worth a discussion, maybe it's not, but it peaked in season 3, I think, for me. But
for me, it kind of peaked in season 2. I really like.
I can see that too.
The season before this one left a bad taste in my mouth, and frankly, I actually like this season better than that one.
I can agree. I think it's a bit more of a return to form, but it's also
notably under par.
It feels like that, and I hate to say it because I like a lot of the talent on that crew.
I hate to say it because we got the original showrunners back.
Yeah.
So one of the things, and I don't want to go too much into any spoilers, but I know in the last season we had Clayface having a successful career, and in this season they've basically undone that, paired him up with fucking Bane, which Okay, you're making Bane and the Straight Man here with another way.
Bane was already a crutch in Kite Man Hell, yeah.
Yeah.
I hate him feeling like this. That's all.
Yeah, they are overutilizing him. I watched all of Kite Man, which I am whelmed by. I'm very whelmed. Yeah, it's not bad. I've seen bad. It's just not that good. It never reaches the best that Harley Quinn's ever reached.
Yeah.
So yeah, this season, just honestly, this season's worst part has just been Bane and Clayface and everything that they've brought to this season. I think if you cut them all together, everything else is much stronger. The stuff with the what's his name? Not the Botanical Man.
Woodrue?
Yeah, Woodrue. Great, love that stuff. I even like Lana. Is it Lana Lang or Lena Lang?
Lana. Lena Luthor.
Lena Luthor. Yeah, sorry, Lena Luthor. Yeah, Lena Luthor. Mostly good, and we've got fucking we've got
the biggest issue I have. God damn it! It feels like we're talking just about Harley Quinn now, but is just that Harley Quinn's show, like its strengths used to be its ensemble cast, like all of the side characters, and now it feels like all of the side characters just aren't as good, or they have been overdeveloped to the point where you just don't care anymore for a lot of them.
Yeah. Oh, and big King Shark's kid, who's like sometimes funny, but sometimes really not funny.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no,
you can't always write a Gene from Bob's Burgers, and they really didn't this time around.
They super didn't.
But yeah. I also saw The Monkey.
Oh, how is that?
Tonally inconsistent, but if you just want to see something that's just like really weirdly darkly comedic, it's by the same guy, Osgood Perkins. He did Longlegs, and there was some stuff in Longlegs where you're looking at like how he's directing Nick Cage and how Nick Cage's performance. It's like, ooh, he's kind of on the verge of funny and creepy with his performance, but that's kind of how Nick Cage is. And now you're just getting kind of the feeling that maybe Osgood Perkins just has a weird sense of humor.
Yeah,
like it's just odd. The monkey itself, very creepy. It's able to pull off kind of like a creepy tone, but it's immediately followed up with like over the top death. Like somebody, like there's a pool that gets electrified. Somebody jumps in and they explode. Like the person explodes, limbs flying everywhere. So it's that kind of tonal inconsistency.
Okay.
And all of the deaths are met with a, oh, that just happened kind of vibe.
Oh, good. Love that.
So it might be your taste. I don't think it's your taste, but for you out there, like anybody out there listening, probably worth watching it on streaming. It's entertaining if you're inebriated, I bet.
Yeah.
Like it's on the verge of being like almost like a B movie to a point, but it has just like that high production value, and it's undeniably got a style to it. So there's that. It definitely has an identity. Nobody could ever claim that this is a very vanilla movie. But anyway, let's talk about the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Or is it your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? Spider-Man. I like the show overall. I think I don't like. I'm obviously not a kid anymore. I remember loving the Spider-Man animated series when I was a child. I haven't watched like any other Spider-Man animated shows since then. I heard Spectacular was really good, but I've never really watched any other Spider-Man cartoons since that early 90s one.
So, let's see. For me, in terms of Spider-Man cartoons that I've seen a lot of, I did watch the original 90s, watched all of Spectacular Spider-Man, saw a little bit of the two Spider-Men after that, which blew my mind because I had no idea that there were two other Spider-Man animated series. I thought they were just the same one, and I wasn't paying close enough attention.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, and the only episodes that I've seen a couple of full episodes. Gotta tell you, not a fan. Do not like them.
Those other Spider-Mans?
I really don't.
Where would you rank this one compared to them?
Oh, higher. Definitely higher.
Okay.
Because Spectacular Spider-Man for me is the best animated series that Spider-Man has had. I don't think it's really a contest at all. Some people might have a lot of nostalgia for that early 90s or for the mid 90s one, and I get that. And I'm not saying like it's bad. I will say Spectacular Spider-Man has a genuinely compelling story from beginning to end. Remarkable acting, and it's not hindered by as much. It's not quite as hindered by the censors as that original one was.
Yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia for the 90s one, not even specifically for any of the plot beats or anything like that, but I remember it introducing me to a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of the like the spectacle of that show, is that they were able, like, that they did just bring in all of the Marvel characters. You got Blade, you got Morbius, you got Iron Man, you got like all, like, every character just kind of showed up in that show. It's like you never knew what was going to happen. I can't remember plots for the life of me, but
I will say the good thing about it though is that it never inundated you. That they were like Spider-Man and his villains were the focus of the show. If there was if another character came in, it was like, oh, it's a cameo from another superhero. This is so cool, and that was good. Unlike the last two Spider-Man series before this, which were like, now we're going to get every single Marvel character we can in here, which sucks because I'm sorry, Spider-Man, I'm so tired of Spider-Man living in a universe full of other heroes. I've never been a big fan of superheroes crossing over in the first place. I'm that motherfucker out here who thinks that Superman and Batman shouldn't even be in the same universe. So, like, for Spider-Man to constantly just never have a chance to be himself. Spectacular Spider-Man, never mention of another single like other comic book character as I remember, and it's the best one. Okay, it's the best one.
Okay, I didn't realize you were such a segregationist.
I really am.
But I don't know. I like the idea that they can cross over, but there is something very compelling about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in that it does just kind of focus on street level stuff.
Yeah,
like it's only New York based. We get hints that like the modern MCU is happening in the background because, I guess, spoiler, this is an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
Where, I guess, the school that Peter Parker was going to go to gets blown up by a symbiote and Doctor Strange, so he has to go to a different school.
Because immediately after that, like, we get basically a skip to months later where he's already Spider-Man.
He's Spider-Man. He has, like, the proto suit on, and essentially, like, the big inciting incident or the big thing at the end of the first episode is they play beat for beat what happens right before, you know, Peter meets Tony Stark in Civil War. It's like, hey, Aunt May, there's a cool car outside. It turns out it's Norman Osborn instead. So you get kind of this new rich mentor who's infatuated by the Spider-Man because he saved his son. He saved Harry from a group of muggers.
Yeah, and that is so fascinating to me. A story where we have, where we've switched out Tony Stark with Norman Osborn. First of all, like that a lot better because please keep Tony Stark away from this kid until he is fully Spider-Man. I beg you. I do not want that. And two, Norman Osborn being his guy in the chair. That's I don't know if we've ever seen anything like that before, and it's a really cool twist.
The closest I can think of is the CW Flash series where Eobard Thawne is teaching Barry how to be Barry.
Right. It's really cool, and I thought I wouldn't like it at first because, again, it kind of bothers me when they're like, oh, but we need a big twist on the original, and it's like, I mean, do you? Because I would like to see some of the really good Spider-Man stories that exist animated, but...
Well, you can see what they're doing here. They're playing with the MCU timeline, which I understand why. It makes sense. They're already doing weird multiverse bullshit, so may as well continue that.
But that being said, I do like this.
Yeah.
I think it works. And part of that definitely comes down to Norman Osborn in this is pitch perfect. I love him.
Yeah. Who is it? Coleman Domingo, I want to say. I was talking about him with Jesse and Stefan earlier. Like, yeah, he plays him good, and I think he even mentioned like I'd play him live action if they want, and fuck it, I'm down.
Yeah,
it's weird that he hasn't been mentioned anywhere beforehand, but hey, if Oscorp's just a thing, it's just a thing, I suppose.
It would be very interesting to me if in the next movie, and High Top actually put out an entire video on this. If in the next movie we meet Harry Osborn at wherever Peter's going to college, or on an internship at, I don't know, the Baxter Building. I think it would be so great if we meet Harry in one of those instances before we ever meet Norman. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, we've had a Norman Osborn. We had the Green Goblin show up as, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
But
which I love.
We don't have... And we've already established in the MCU, there are different people, with this, different actors play the same character in different timelines.
Yeah. Hey, this Norman Osborn could be black.
It can work.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And definitely not woke, by the way. Not woke. Not woke. Just FYI. Nothing woke about it.
Yeah, no wokeness here. Only sleep. Only sleep. No wake.
I'm not
no
sleeping on... Hey, I refuse to sleep on this show.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting watching as, he kind of gets upgraded and moved along by Norman Osborn, who's trying to, rebrand him. It's like, nobody likes spiders. Here, we're going to make you the Dragonfly Kid or something like that. And they keep giving him here, these wings will help you. You'll be able to travel better. Yeah, but it's really not how I do things. Shut up. Put on the wings.
Which is sort of interesting because those wings would get have been used in future outfits. Although, there's a part of me that absolutely adores the fact that this show is aggressively making fun of, well, he needs extra stuff on the suit. No, fuck you. The mechanical spider arms suck. I hate them. Anytime they show up in any story, I'm like, God damn it, I hate these.
I don't hate the mechanical spider arms.
I don't hate them necessarily, or 100% of the time, because they can be used in cool moments. But Spider-Man, it ruins his silhouette, and it overcomplicates his power set, and it just kind of feels like somebody was like, well, he's not good enough like this. And no, Spider-Man is good enough without them. He doesn't need them.
I've seen him trash the Avengers so many times in the comics. He's inarguably one of the most powerful Earth heroes.
I am hoping, though, that we return to Spider-Man being as strong as Spider-Man really is. In this, we really don't get a lot of it until kind of closer to the end. And it's sort of a plot point there, too. It's just... But yeah. No, anyway.
Yeah, by the end of this, we're kind of at where he was in Homecoming, I feel like.
A little bit.
Yeah.
This... Anyway, but yeah, start going a little bit more from the beginning. Yeah, we get Norman Osborn. He's now the guy in the chair. He tries, like you said, he tries to come up with all these different versions of Spider-Man, and they don't work. And I thought I'd be a little bit more annoyed by it, but it was genuinely just kind of entertaining to see the different takes that they had.
Yeah.
And again, anything that's making fun of overcomplicating his design, I'm about.
Yeah, and he got a bunch of different suits throughout, and I'm trying to think all of the things that go down, because he's dealing mostly with street level action.
Yeah, and during all of this, we also meet Nico. Nico is basically his Genki in this version, only not the guy in the chair, just best friend, person that he's going to constantly disappoint by not meeting her where he's supposed to. And I really like Nico a lot. She is so nice and cute and funny, and I like the fact that she is as patient as she can be with him until there's a breaking point. And you see her just constantly being understanding and supporting him, and she's still being funny and snarky, and I genuinely love her vibe. I also love the fact that we have our crush for Peter Parker in this, who's Pearl. And she's a good character in her own right. At first, she's just sort of there to be part of this love triangle. And I love the fact that he's into Pearl. She's also into Pearl.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, I'm gonna try and hook you two up.
Peter and Nico are like, yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, and she's basically like, but if you fail, I'm swooping in there, all right? I am 100% on that. And I love all of the moments that we get where she is just so gay for Pearl. And Pearl, yeah. I don't think Pearl recognizes it at all.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Pearl's currently dating Lani Lincoln, the guy that will eventually be Tombstone.
I gotta say something, by the way. The way that Lani and Pearl treat Peter in the first couple episodes.
Oh, it's great.
I was watching it with Quinn, and the entire time, we couldn't stop making thruple jokes. Because it constantly felt like, okay.
Lani is constantly like taking him under his wings, like, nah, you're my buddy now. We're good friends. And Pete's like, man, I can't hate you. This sucks.
Oh yeah. By the way, Lani, fantastic.
Great. Fantastic character. Probably like might be my favorite character in the show.
You know, it was, and I want to finish my earlier thought.
Sure.
It was just really funny to watch Peter sandwiched up between Pearl and him, and I'm just like, is he gonna be the third now? Is that the situation here? Because
Kaiser, it's not woke.
I know it's not woke. But that's Quinn and I just kept making that joke over and over, and it just kept getting worse.
Yeah.
But Lonnie Lincoln, by the way, whoever the scriptwriter was knew exactly to say Lincoln Park, or no, Lincoln Parker, and I'm like, damn it. No, I immediately like that hit my ear, and I'm like, oh wow, that was like a pan upside my head. But Lonnie Lincoln, love him, and immediately lovable. I'm so glad they went that, because I was so scared he was going to be the Flash of this series, and no, he's
just genuine good dude.
Yeah.
And his brother gets in trouble, and he has to like step in with a local gang to get his brother out of trouble, and they see Lani is more useful than his brother, so they're like, okay, why don't you do work for us then? It's like, shit. So to protect his family, he gets sucked into this gang, and I like this little side plot as he's finding this like new family in because like the first time we get introduced to his home life, we see him part ways with everybody, and he starts traveling, and you can see as the world just kind of get like the neighborhoods get worse and worse as he walks through them. The police giving him the side eye, but again, not woke. And you just see that, like, he has a nice little family life. His family is very supportive and loving, but his brother got in with a bad crowd.
Yeah, and watching the development with him, when I realized, wait a second, you're like the B story for the show. Mm-hmm. I was really surprised, because I'm like, I don't know if I've ever really this character. I don't think he's. I mean, we know what he ends up being. It's just so interesting to me that this ends up being our B-plot character for the show. And at first I was like, that's an interesting move. What's up with this guy? And then after he fully ingratiates himself into the gang, they give him the name Tombstone. And then it all clicked into place. Which honestly,
you don't see through that lens.
I was happy to see that. That was good for me though.
Yeah.
I'm glad, because the moment that hit, it's like when I heard Amadeus Cho, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait, Amadeus Cho, the fucking the like Hulk, like the other Hulk. Mm-hmm. Which sorry if that's a spoiler for anybody who doesn't know that Amadeus Cho is another Hulk in the comics. But yeah, that really blew my mind. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, his whole because he gets brought into Oscorp as an intern because Osborn's trying to figure out, who's the Spider Kid. I want to figure it out. It's got to be one of these, because they're all smart and they're in the area. So,
which, by the way, that was such an interesting move. Like, I really like that explanation. Like, hey, look, I'm able to utilize all of you guys. You're all really smart. But there was a second thing I was trying to do. I was trying to find the Spider-Man, and turns out I really am that guy.
Yeah, he pulled an L on them. Really worked it. So yeah, I liked the characterization of Osborn in this, because he's got his own nefarious plans. He's a big old corpo. He wants to take Parker's DNA in order to, I guess, create another super soldier serum to try to make, more, kind of quantify it as a pharmaceutical, which kind of creates a weird closed time loop by the end of the show. But
so it's really
interesting. Paradox.
Yeah, that how that plays out is really interesting. I'm not sure I love that angle.
It makes me wonder how Tom Holland's Spider-Man got the powers at this point.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
For me, so big thing with Spider-Man for me, I hate the spider totems. I hate the Spider-Verse, in fact. I hate it a lot. I do not like this idea that Peter Parker is genuinely just destined to become Spider-Man. I don't like Fate. I don't like any of that shit.
All the weird like spider war thing with like the cannibalistic dude that eats the spider people. That's a weird story arc. I'm not sure I vibe with it.
I don't like the idea of almost any superhero being destined to become that superhero. That sucks. That fucking sucks. Why do they keep doing this? Stop doing this. Fuck, stop. But that being said, I love the Spider-Verse movies a whole fucking lot because they were like, okay, this exists, so let's have fun with it. And once I was able to get past that, I was like, okay, I can get past this, the bad part I don't like for these amazing movies. And here we are getting a good story that's told with what essentially is us telling us, yes, he was always going to become Spider-Man. And I'm like, okay, fine, sure, whatever.
They kind of hand wave it here, though. It's not like a big pinpoint, like this has to happen. It's just like, yeah, he's gonna happen.
Yeah, and it's not so bad.
Yeah, it was more of like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. It was more Greek in its interpretation, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because, I mean, this whole thing's fucking spoilers. But yeah, the spider that Norman, like, jabs with the Peter DNA ends up going through the tunnel that Strange opens up to fight, I guess, a symbiote from space. And that's the spider that ends up biting him in episode 1. And we find that out at the final episode. But in between, a whole lot of stuff happens. He meets Daredevil in probably one of the cooler scenes where little Peter Parker is having to fight Daredevil, who, Spider-Man in a 1v1, yeah, probably could eventually beat Daredevil. But Daredevil is a better combatant. Like, he's just a better martial artist. And his blind sense is beating Peter's spider sense at this point. And
there are two things that ultimately hinder him in that fight, which I really like. One, he's holding back, which, hey, yeah, I really like the idea that Spider-Man's kind of afraid to go whole hog. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And second, and like Murdoch points this out, when Spider-Man says, "You're really good at this. Thanks." You're not. And then he trips him, and it's like, oh, right, Spider-Man's never he's probably never taken a martial arts class in his life, right?
Yeah, he relies on his instincts and his brute strength and his reflexes. That's all he needs at this point.
Yeah.
Because most normal people are never going to be able to match that.
Yeah. And we see a guy who is not normal, no. Which, by the way, he's the only other hero, if I'm correct, that he interacts with in this entire season.
Who is actively in... like,
oh wait, sorry, no, Doctor Strange, also Doctor Strange. No, yeah, because I was going to say, I don't want him to keep interacting with these other heroes if we can help it, but at least one is very story relevant. That's Doctor Strange, and the other one is actually really interesting because he's also another ground level hero, and I'm more okay with that.
He's trying to like look into Oscorp because they're dealing with some weird shit.
Yeah.
Like they're distributing weapons to the street level because we learned that Otto Octavius, who's been working with Oscorp, is essentially out for his own good, and he's trying to make bucks making, military grade equipment available for a good hefty price at the street level. It's how we end up getting the Scorpion. It's how we I don't remember There are other characters we see in this.
There's Chameleon.
Yeah, Chameleon.
I believe also Rhino.
Yeah, but we don't get him in the suit yet.
No. And I'm glad. And frankly, I'm glad that they're clearly setting up a Sinister Six. Yes, and I'm eager because they're doing it right. Because it doesn't feel like any of their involvement is really overtaking the plot as it's being told, but it also doesn't feel like they're just there to be there either. They're subtly giving us introductions to all these other characters, and frankly, by the way, really big fan of having Scorpion be kind of like the major antagonistic force in this one. Great starter villain, perfect stuff, really.
Yeah, because he sells that laser unicorn helmet to the Russians. So inevitably, you know, Peter gets kind of like sucked into all this. Meanwhile, Lani gets sucked into this because they're dealing with like the gang he gets sucked into is having a beef with the Scorpions.
Yep.
Led by Matt Gargan. And eventually they end up at this like deal where, you know, Scorpion's got his tail on and everybody's trying to fight. Lani gets covered with chemicals, so now he's bulletproof. And I do like that you start to kind of see that his skin starts to kind of like flake away into that chalky white skin that Tombstone has too.
Yeah, in that last bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this. How he got his powers is the weakest part of the show. Genuinely, that sucked.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it ruined it. And Lani's story is so good that this one happenstance being what changed his life, whatever, I'll get over it. But, wow, okay, so Lani got superpowers because he inhaled some gas. By accident. Okay. I mean, I guess there are other dumber ways to get powers, so I'm not gonna, like, again, it doesn't bother me enough to, like, ruin anything for me. It just, oh, alright.
You breathe in the gas, you breathe in the super gas, and now you're a bulletproof man. You're albino Luke Cage now.
But yeah, it's interesting. And there was one other thing I wanted to bring up so speaking of Doc Ock, was I the only person who noticed the Sam Raimi reference?
I mean, I noticed it, but
yeah,
I can't imagine. So no, you're not. But
good, because yeah, the moment he sets off the auto defense in his warehouse, I was like, oh, okay, this is a rather blatant callback to the surgery room scene that we got in Spider-Man 2. And I thought that was kind of fun. I thought, like, it's not one for one, obviously, but it's calling back so much to it that I was like, okay, it's nice to see that whoever's like writing this was like, hey, why don't we call back to one of the best Doc Ock scenes in like recent years? And I dug that. There's one negative I want to say about the show overall, if I could though.
Mm-hmm.
I think that its comedy is rough. I never found myself actually laughing, and most of its attempts to make me laugh just kind of made my eyes roll.
I'd call it charming, but like, yeah, I wouldn't say funny.
Yeah, and it is
like
charming.
It's got charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like they were trying to write these characters. It definitely felt like they were kind of trying to avoid the MCU snark. That's one thing, and that I can appreciate. But it never does anything. A lot of its attempts to be humorous is just kind of like people being obnoxious half the time, or kind of dickish, and it didn't work so well for me. I don't know.
Yeah. What did work well for me is I kind of actually dug that Peter didn't really have a like 1v1 with Doc Ock.
Oh,
Doc Ock got taken down by Iron Man of all people.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been weird if he had, like, I think in this story, obviously Doc Ock shouldn't meet Spider-Man until he's got all of his arms.
Yeah, until there's like really a purpose, because Peter's deal, like, the big conflict with him was dealing with Gargan. Like that was the big fight for him until the symbiote at the end. Yeah.
And yeah, the other thing, the show pulls. I don't know what is up with the MCU and their shows in this. This happened in Miss Marvel as well. Why is it that we get like this one big villain up until the second to last episode, and then another really big bad, the really actual big bad at the end? It's weird.
It's a little weird, but it's hard to call Scorpion like the big bad either. Like he's clearly, dealing with both the A and B plot. So I guess for this season he is kind of the big bad, but he never feels like it.
No,
it always feels like they're setting up something more beyond him, regardless, because you have Octavius in play, you have Osborn in play, and then through all of the stuff that Osborn's been working on, he created I guess like a giant worm. He created a Stargate. He
Yeah.
just created a Stargate with all of his money.
And
it opens up to like Planet Null or something, where there's just a big blobby symbiote monster waiting.
Good, by the way, great use of framing with they think that that it's turned on and it's actually just Doctor Strange because it came out where the portal would. Love that. I love that. Great stuff. Because for a moment there, I'm like, wait a second, did they use like is it just their is this just how portals look when they open? And no, it's actually Doctor Strange, which is good stuff.
Yeah. So the final conflict doesn't even really have Peter dealing with the symbiote so much as it's him just trying to destroy the machine that's letting this thing stay here while Doctor Strange shields it on the other side.
Yeah.
After completing the time loop that they made, I guess.
I am very curious about how they're going to move forward.
Me too.
Because we have like now that I don't know I do want a second season. I really liked this one. I'm looking forward to the next one. It's set up a lot of things, and I hope they pay them off well.
The thing I'm intrigued by is like clearly I hope they stick with more of like the street level stuff, but
yeah, me too.
The MCU stuff is happening in the background. You see the Sokovia Accords and how like I guess Captain America and all that, like some of the people are like fugitives from the law because Spider-Man wasn't there to help stop them as easily. So they were able, like Cap and his team was able to get away easier. So all that stuff's happening in the background, which means that the Thanos stuff is also happening in the background.
So I would like to believe that they will skip that shit. Please skip that shit. I'm begging you, do not indulge in the other MCU stuff beyond what we've seen. I don't know, have Thanos just like fail and not snap. Okay, please. I want to see a Spider-Man story. And if you're going, like, don't fuck it up with all this other MCU stuff.
Yeah, it's like, because everything we hear about the MCU is always in the background.
Yeah.
Like, the Sokovia Accords are in place, which means, I guess, Ultron happened at some point.
Yeah.
Nobody ever talks about that.
Well, they do bring that up momentarily. And, in fact, God, this show feels like it is looking me directly in the eye and saying, yeah, I know all the stuff that bothers you. Because fucking Norman Osborn points out, like, yeah, they call themselves heroes, and yet they spend most of the time cleaning up the messes they made. And I'm like, thank you! That is my least favorite, no, not my least favorite part, but that is one of the parts about the MCU that I've always fucking hated.
That Tony's the one that's causing 90% of the problems?
Yeah, Tony Stark, like, everything in that second Avengers film is like, this is just Tony's fucking fault. He's cleaning up a mess he made. And it felt like that happened too often, where, like, the hero comes to the planet, and so does the fucking villain. Like,
to be fair, the paranoia was already in his brain, and it was amplified by Wanda.
But what I am saying is it doesn't make it good enough.
I've come around to really liking the Ultron movie, honestly.
Oh, no, I like the Ultron movie well enough. I think that it's still got its problems, but I still liked it. There are things I don't like, and that is one of them. And so I'm just praying, I am praying that, yeah, they'll skip that shit. We won't have to hear at all about the snap. We won't have to deal with that shit, because that would be way better to me. Because this is a Spider-Man story. It doesn't need to be the MCU story.
We also learned that one of the other people in the internship program is actually Daredevil's protege.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I don't know their hero name, but
I hadn't paid attention.
I honestly didn't even know he had a sidekick. So
I didn't know that either. I'm not a big Daredevil guy. I haven't even seen like season 3 of the Netflix show or the like anything from the.
I'm rewatching through because I do kind of want to see Born Again. So I'm trying to go in with like okay, I want my mind refreshed on like, you know, where this Matt's been.
I might watch season 3 because I've been hearing from certain people that season 3 is a step up from season 2. I stopped watching after season 2 because I hated Elektra with a passion.
Season 2 is muddled because it's also trying to be a soft launch for a Punisher show, and it gets muddled because of that.
Except I love all the Punisher stuff.
I know.
Like the Punisher
But it's also,
stuff.
but remember, it's also trying to set up for the Defenders, which it needed Elektra for.
Oh God, yeah, no, she's the. Anyway, point being,
I think she's a fine character.
I not in that show. I'm
don't know.
sorry.
I'm in the middle of season 2. I like the dynamic between them. I think the payoff is poor.
I'll watch season 3, see how I feel. Apparently, Deadshot, or not Deadshot,
Bullseye.
fucking Bullseye is perfect, and that's okay. Cool, awesome, way to go. But yeah, so one thing I want to say about the show, and then this is more of a mixed feeling where I'm still kind of trying to feel out how I land on it, is the animation.
Yeah, on one hand, like, it's really jarring at first. On the other hand, almost any time you pause it, it looks like it could be a comic panel.
That is very intentional. And I found that remarkable because the moment I saw that first image of it, I was like, wait, how the hell does this show look in motion? And yeah, it looks like you'd imagine it looks in motion, which sometimes is good. In fact, all the web swinging bits and a lot of the action bits, pretty good. They could improve it. There's a way to go.
But some of the day-to-day walking, talking is a little robotic.
Yeah. And it kept like throwing me off a little bit when characters would look at the wrong angle, like, or the camera would take the wrong angle. Like anything that was like too much of a side profile, or it was like kind of like over their shoulder from behind and they're talking, looks really bad because the models are just not made to fit in this 3D space and talk much. Like there's just such a lack of detail everywhere. All I could see is that's a 3D model talking. Every time, like in a world with Arcane, we get this.
Yeah, that almost feels like an unfair comparison, but but they are working in the same media, so I'll say that.
Not only the same media, they have fuck you Disney money. Now I'm not saying that like the Arcane took forever to make, and I'm not saying it needs to look as good as Arcane. But I am saying that it could look better than this.
I didn't hate it. My biggest complaint with the show is like I enjoyed it throughout, but we're a couple weeks separated from me watching it, and I have a hard time thinking of real highlights other than just characters.
Highlights for me. Yeah, honestly, the characters are sort of a highlight, though.
Yeah,
I think it's a incredibly likable cast.
But I mean, it doesn't really have like any big moments that stick out in my head.
I know what you mean, and yeah, I'm kind of there too. It's hard for me to think of one particular moment where I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is Spider-Man." Throughout all of it, I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I also too just doesn't have that moment where I'm going to pog out of the screen while pointing.
Yeah, which is like, to me, this just kind of comes down to, it feels like junk food television, which is fine. Like, you just binge watch it and enjoy it for what it is, but I don't know. Like, it's not something I'd necessarily write home about, you know?
I think it's a little bit better than junk food, but it definitely kind of feels like, it feels a little like junk food that's trying to be health food. This feels like the Whole Foods version of the junk food that you eat. And it's still good, but yeah, I definitely think that it can make some significant improvements moving forward. I hope that the animation takes a step up next season. I'm hoping that we get some bigger, cooler moments now that we've got Spider-Man in the suit, which, by the way, this Spider-Man suit, I like it. It looks good.
Yeah, I like that Harry ends up being his confidant by the end too.
By the way, Harry in this, I love Harry. I love his whole story. The fact that he's just like...
I want to get more of him. Like, right now, he's just kind of like this rich dude influencer. And I like his dynamic, like the dynamic between him and Nico.
Yes.
Where it's
Oh.
like she's like super anti-corpo, like very progressive, not woke.
Right.
But and Harry's just this like silver spoon in his mouth, kind of like, but fairly normal dude beyond that. And they just kind of start bonding over like board games and things.
And it's very obvious that, yes, like, look, fuck billionaires, okay? Fuck billionaires and fuck their millionaire kids, all right? 100% every time. But in this story, we at least get to see a person who is actually a nice guy, regardless of, like, maybe in spite of his father and his upbringing. And all he's trying to do is the right thing. And it just takes the right people coming along and showing him how to do that. And I like that.
And he ends up building Webb, Worldwide Engineering Brigade, which is another reference. So
yeah, and it's nice to see. It's really nice to see. I'd like to see how that moves forward again next season. And yes, him and Nico's relationship is adorable, and I love how it progresses because it does a lot for them both. I think the one thing. Oh, speaking of Nico. I don't know anything about her. I don't know if she's in the comics. I don't know if she's already an established character with lore. I don't know what the fuck's going on with her. I'm praying it's good because honestly, that was the one thing I did not care about. And I like Nico. I just like, okay, whatever this fucking supernatural shenanigans going on is, if it's not like genuinely compelling, miss me with it. We just don't get enough this season, so I don't know.
yeah, the name rang a bell, so I did look it up. She is a character in Marvel lore.
Okay.
But
okay.
not like a big one. Like you'll notice that throughout she has a connection to the arcane, you know, like that symbol, like she actually does some like little magic in the show.
Yeah, with her pendant.
Yeah. So she does have like a connection to that side of Marvel.
Yeah. So that could be. Look, I'm not saying I'm hesitant. I really hope that it's good because at the moment it's the last thing I want to see.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Osborn has a piece of the symbiote, so clearly Venom is in play at some point.
Which, by the way, I was watching him like, oh, it's gonna close and there's a little bit's gonna get out, right?
Yeah,
there we go.
And Harry and Peter are now working closer together. Doc Ock obviously going to be a bigger thing moving forward because this is clearly going to get more seasons.
I'm not. So I hope they don't do the Sinister Six next season. If it's a season 3 thing, fine, cool, awesome.
You need to establish the characters and not in a Sony movie sort of way. You need to.
I don't need them to be established as they're making a group. I need them established and then make a fucking group.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, we all hate this guy. We should group up on him. That makes more sense than I'm just going to give all of you bits and pieces of weapons and technology and now fight him.
Now, that being said, I actually am on board with, like, in the next season, Octavius, like, breaks out. In fact, I think it would be great
he
if,
has to be a thing next season.
Yeah. He breaks out. He has this whole like bit where he's he's trying to rebuild himself, and Spider-Man stops him or gets in his way or inconveniences him in a big way, and he just fucking comes to hate this guy. And so he starts giving out tech to people without saying, "Hey, I'm making a group." I like the idea that he's the guy who's now giving out tech to all these villains to help them be better villains to fuck this guy up. And then at the end of the season, they're like, "All right, I try to have this. I try to have you do this piecemeal. I try to have you do it like on your own. Fuck this. I've got a group now. I'm
putting together a team.
Exactly.
And then Thanos lands and just wait.
No, God.
Just wait.
God, no.
Just wait.
But yeah, no. I think that'd be a great way to set up the Sinister Six by allowing all these other villains throughout that season to kind of like appear and become the Rhino and maybe the Vulture and shit like that. I'd like that.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you like Spider-Man? Where is this rank in terms of your Spider-Mans? I honestly just I watched it while I've been waiting for more episodes of Invincible to come out. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm looking forward to talking about that.
Yep. Right. Last episode of the season's next episode. And we will be doing a second half / full season review after it's out. So
we'll talk about that. So you'll hear about that next time on the
Talkcast
Podshow. I don't think I've ever done a sign out for this before, but whatever.
Talkcast Podshow.